Nice to have you with us on the show.
You got Sonny Cher tonight.
Yeah.
You got Willie Nelson.
Yeah.
This is stacked cards. All you need now is Dole and the money changes from the temple.
Now, you've never been here before. Let me ask you honestly, do you think I suck?
That's private.
All right, thank you. There's so much going on right now, especially in the last 3 weeks. It's been unbelievably interesting, unbelievably exciting, and let's get into that in a second. I want to talk to you about you for a minute, if you don't mind. You don't mind? Tell me what kind of a kid you were. What did you do when you were a kid? Did you ever get in trouble? Were you ever arrested? Were you trouble for the girls? What kind of a guy, what kind of a kid, what was your upbringing like? Was it you had fun?
I escaped.
You escaped?
I really didn't have much of a child. I was born full grown. You've always known me just as I am now.
Wow!
But really,
Is that right? Man, your poor mother. Good heavens. Did you ever get in trouble in school? I knew you were an athlete. You played football.
Well, I did, and I think I really was under the discipline of a mother and father who had to take life very seriously. Much of what we take for granted, and as I watched the marchers come to Washington last week, one qualitative difference was those who came in '63 from Texas across to Florida up to Virginia couldn't use a single public toilet. Had to go outdoors behind the cars and trees to relieve our bodies. I mean, all that we saw in South Africa, all that this generation saw in South Africa was real for us in South Carolina. We couldn't use a hotel, a motel, a public park, or a library. And so under those conditions, we grew up. But in that situation, you either become bitter or you become better, because it's living under stress every day. And so I grew up under that stress, and I think I developed certain disciplines out of it, certain survival skills that I employ now.
Yeah. Were you ever in trouble as a kid in school? Did you get good grades?
Well, got pretty good grades. I had big fun as a child. It was real, fun and athlete. And I think maybe the most regrettable thing happened was that my mother was determined to make me take French. And
does your mother speak French?
Mother did not speak French, but she foresaw the day when I would be president of France, and so she wanted to speak French. And so,
you gotta have it. You gotta be the president of France.
Maybe English-speaking.
You look silly if you can't speak French.
Got to speak French in France. And so I was trying to do it, but kind of reluctant. And the guys on the football team said, "Well, you got to grow up, man. You can't just be a mother's boy, because after all, if you learn to speak French, we can't speak it back to you." Yeah. And you will not have this French-speaking next-door neighbors, and so it's just one of those mother things.
Yeah, they're teasing you a little bit about this.
Yeah, and they kind of got under my skin, So I didn't learn French, except, things like cafe, auto, things like that. About deep as I got in French. But really, the painful part was, there's always a payday for this stuff, Right after Dr. King was killed, and a lot of us who were in his shadows had to do a lot more work. Me and Reverend Lowry, a bunch of us had to do a lot of different things after he died. And one day I got a call from the UN. The 6 African ambassadors wanted to come visit me because people were starving in the Sahel region of Africa, and they wanted some help. Would I help? I felt honored to be able to help. And so on this particular day, they drove up, and 6 of them in 2 limousines, and a wife and children in the yard waiting for them to walk up, and walked out with a big, broad English smile. "Come on, tell vous, monsieur." I said, "Throw your hand, brother." Parlez-vous français? No. It kind of, I really had the chance to learn it even under the most adverse conditions, and I did less than my best, and I had to pay for it. So now as I go to French-speaking West Africa or go to France, it haunts me. Yeah. And so I tell youth every place that there's something called choices and consequences, and when you do not make right choices, you often end up with very painful consequences.
Yeah. Did you get much mileage out of that cafe with the ambassadors? Oh, cafe.
Dave, don't go there.
What do you think of the haircut? Looks pretty good, don't it?
Well, I was going to take you to a barber.
Oh, I've been to a barber.
And serve you some green eggs and ham when we got there. It does look kind of funny. If the word they were using a while ago,
Oh.
Willie Nelson, it what?
Yeah, yes, it sucks. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to tell you something. This is my promise to you, Reverend. You come back here in 2 years, it'll look great.
At least.
Yeah. We, considering the march Monday, the Million Man March, or whatever the number was, we hear from anywhere from 400,000 to over 1 million, maybe closer to 2 million.
It was 1 million in the place, certainly in our minds, and to just be one in that million was a transforming experience.
Let me ask you a question. What should a guy like me, or not a guy like me, and the rest of America, my mom, everybody across the country, what is the most important lasting impression and the most important thing to learn from that experience? What does it transmit to? A
segment of American people who are African American, who are in great pain, and who brought to Washington with dignity and discipline their grievance. From urban America, the number one growth industry in urban America now is jails. Half of all public housing built the last 10 years have been jails. And because plants are closing and jobs are leaving, the tax base is eroding. What you have is mothers being chased and fathers chastised and children locked up. And the real solution must be a new focus on jobs for the parents and education for the children. And that's what that march was saying, that, black babies die earlier, infant mortality. That's why we marched. We're less able to get a primary or secondary education, less able to borrow money. Last year in San Diego, 30,000 mortgage loans, only 29 went to blacks. Life expectancy is shorter. And so if that many Americans are in pain, America can never be well until all of us have that sense of justice and common ground.
So it seems to me that the solutions for these problems are relatively obvious, and you're saying maybe have been overlooked or neglected for the last 10, 15, 20 years or whatever, and if in fact that's the case, and I guess now to consider more importantly is, can they be
They really
actuated?
can be, but we cannot look at structural problems and solve it with anecdotes. In other words, if you were driving your car and the right back tire, kept blowing every month, the other tires were normal, you wouldn't say something is wrong with the tire. You would say it must be not aligned properly. So if there's a significant segment that keeps blowing a tire, what's going on here? And what's going on here is something called race discrimination and gender equality, and it's beneath the dignity of the American promise. We want to work and want to get paid for working. We want our children to have an education. We want to fight the drug syndrome. And that march, the good news was the very tone of it, the moral tone, was spiritual atonement, soul searching from within, but also we need public policy. Some years ago, there was a Kerner Commission report that described two Americas. I mean, why was there such a disparity and difference in the OJ, the reaction to it? Those, Dave, were standing up looking down on the apple. They see a shiny apple. Those on the bottom looking up, they see rot, and they see worms. That's why if you were caught with 5 grams of crack cocaine, just 5 grams, 5 years mandatory. 500 grams of powder cocaine, you get probation. Powder's wholesale, crack is retail. So who has the powder? 75% white males. Who's caught with a $5 high? Young black and brown males. That's unfair. It's inconsistent. And somehow there must be a policy, it seems to me, to see the advantage in lifting our children up, not just locking them up.
I have an answer now to the yes. I have an answer now to the car situation. You keep blowing the right rear, happens over and over and over again. You call AAA. They come out and it's sort of a metaphor for what we're talking about.
You call AAA or Farrakhan or somebody. You call somebody if you want to get the tie put back together. I think the real point is that we have an excellent opportunity in our country to move toward bonding. When to see these men bonding with their babies and fathers with their sons, and on the real spirit of family reunification, and men going to stand up and either embrace matrimony or pay their alimony. I mean, the right ethical tone was there, but now we must move just from the issue of personal responsibility to a public policy. I hope that President Clinton will respond beyond.
What do you think of Clinton,
Well,
generally?
I thought it was a good speech he gave, I must say, Monday, in terms of the right kind of
He was out of
anecdote.
town, though. How did you feel about that?
He was out of town, but he was in the country, and the problem is everywhere. But what I think he should do rather immediately is have a White House conference on urban policy and economic development and equal opportunity. The alternative to welfare is a job. The alternative to so much jailing is better education. And that's why I appeal to him and to members of the Congress in a bipartisan way. Let's make America America for all of its people.
Yeah. We just have a second here. I want to get your, are you running in 96? That interests you for 96?
I have not yet made that decision, and if I were
Okay, we'll come back to that.
If I were to say it here now, I would upset Larry King.
Oh, who cares? Yeah. He's out now looking to get married again. It doesn't make any difference. All right, so we'll come back to...
Don't crack jokes with facts.
Colin Powell, what about this guy?
He has all the right stuff. I mean, he has...
Would you vote for this guy?
He has the ability, he has the background. The ball is in his court.
Would you vote for the guy?
Well, he certainly appeals to me very much.
Would you vote for the guy?
Well, I can't say that now. No.
Somebody call AAA!
No, the point is that the answer to the question is yes, but...
You would, so then you would vote for Colin Powell.
But a vote is much too serious to give when it has not been asked for.
Okay.
You get the point.
I understand what you're saying. Ross Perot? Guy's wacky. A little wacky? A little wacky.
Right. You let Ross alone.
And Bob Dole, what do you think of this guy?
He's a money changer in the tempo. He's switching.
Yeah. And now, coming back to you, you going to run or not?
I've not made the decision, but I'll tell you what.
Would you run, if Colin Powell runs, would you run as well or not?
I do not know. I really can't answer that question. Because there is too many unanswered questions to know what scenario it would be. I tell you what, he right now is really on a roll as an author, a very popular ex-general.
Right.
And
but people really don't know much about him substantively, do they, when it comes to political issues? Or do they? Do we know if those questions have been answered?
The more they will know, perhaps the more they will like, because he's highly principled. And when you look at the array of American presidents, his credentials, his background, his journey ranks for the very best our nation has ever had to offer. Needless to say, if he were to run and to win, it would break barriers, but also barriers that would make America whole. If we can get past the barrier of race and sex and see people as people and judge them by values and not reject them on race or sex, we'll become a much better and a much stronger nation.
You know, you have a good way with words. I love listening to you talk. I'm not sure I understand everything, but man, I like listening to you talk. You have a nice sense of the vocabulary.
And I went to public schools, which makes it even better.
As did I.
Right.
Reverend, it's good to see you, and come back as we get closer to the election and update us on stuff, all right?
I promise I will.
Nice to see you. Reverend Jesse Jackson, we'll be right back.